Hey, you guys. We are going to talk about something fun today. What are we talking about today, Shay?
We are talking about fashion through the decades. Yes, I love this.
Yeah, me too. It's exciting. This is a
Very
really
exciting.
good episode. I'm excited. I think this is a good topic, you know. So, yeah, we're going to get right into it because we ain't waiting for this one at all.
Not at all.
So, Shay, how did fashion affect what was happening in the world during each decade?
Ooh, this is a loaded question. So, y'all gonna rock with me? Because I'm gonna go decade by decade. So, let's start with the 20s. 1920s is freedom. So, you see the flappers, you see short dresses, and jazzy energy after World War II. World War One. Then let's go into the 40s. You see survival is the theme. So simple, practical looks during wartime.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go into the 50s, which is prosperity,
Mm-hmm.
polished silhouettes, and that American dream was the vibe, the nuclear family.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go to the 60s. That's the rebellion era. So we have color, looks, and self expression. Then we get into the 70s, liberation,
Mm-hmm.
disco, hippie culture, and political style statements.
Mm-hmm.
80s, power. So bold shoulders, bright colors, money energy.
Mm-hmm.
2026 trend, y'all. And then 1990s, rebellion part two. So you have the grunge meets hip hop and streetwear.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get into the 2000s. That's the celebrity culture. So that's the low rise jeans, bling, and pop influence. And then you're in the 2010s, and that's the social media era. So influencers, athleisure, and fast fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're in the 2020s, which is self expression, comfort, culture, and individuality rule.
That comfort is true.
It's huge.
It is true. A lot of people are very much so comfortable, especially the younger generation. What is it? Generation Z.
It's Z,
They
and they're on the alphas now.
Okay, and
Yeah.
that's a very like Generation Z is very much so it's comfortable, baggy type of stuff. I mean, they're definitely going back into like the 2000 early 2000s, but yeah,
You have to think about the pandemic where
yeah,
that
that's yeah,
generation they were in the house,
yeah, that
and
is
so
true.
comfort is what they know.
Yeah, that is very true. I feel bad for a lot of people that graduated
Oh yeah,
2020, like they had to graduate in house. That's yeah,
they talking about that, and that's a whole nother story.
yeah, that's crazy.
So Mo, if you could live in any fashion decade, which one fits your vibe?
20s.
Okay,
I
20s.
feel like with 20s, I feel like you said, 60s was self expression. I feel like that's what they did in the 20s. And I love that it was very elegant and polished and like over the top with like all the jewelry and all that stuff. Like it was beautiful. Like the silhouette, it was very much so art. I feel like in the 20s that was art pieces. And they expressed itself. And they also wore suits. And I love suits. Women really wear suits, but I love how detailed and the accessories added to each of the suits. So I would say the 1920s. 1920s is so dear to my heart. I love the 20s. I think they wore a lot. I love that they wore like short haircuts and stuff. Like very much so powerful for women in the 20s.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, so 1920s.
yeah. It was the freedom. It was the
Yes.
freedom. And it's funny because 1920 was the era of freedom, and then
Mm-hmm.
the 2020s was the era of self-expression.
Yeah.
So the 20s is all about them
The
20s.
20.
Them 20s be bringing it.
I agree.
Yeah.
So okay, Shay, what role did Black culture play in shaping these eras?
This is another loaded question, so I'm gonna break it on down for y'all. And as you know, Black culture has influenced everything.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite thing to say. And it has influenced every era. So let's start with the 20s. You had the Harlem Renaissance, shaped the rhythm of decade of it was the blueprint of like jazz, suits, and statement styles.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go into the 1940s to the 50s. You had the black entertainers brought elegance and sharp tailoring into the spotlight. That's where you see also zoot suits too.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go to the 60s. That's the civil rights movement. So Black pride inspired what? Natural hair, dashikis,
Mm-hmm.
and self-expression through fashion. 70s, disco, funk, and soul, all rooted in Black creativity, defined the decade's looks. 80s, hip hop and streetwear started shaping global fashion. So you had logos, sneakers, and gold chains became cultural symbols.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 90s, come on, from Tupac to Aaliyah, the mix of tomboy chic and street edge redefined cool. And then you had the early 2000s to the 2010s. Black artists set the trend. So Beyonce, Pharrell, Rihanna, they were the fashion mood board, and they still the fashion mood board.
Yeah, I
Okay,
agree.
and then the 2020s, you have Black designers, stylists, Law Roach,
Mm-hmm.
and influencers are finally getting the recognition. So what used to be copied is now celebrated.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So
I
Black
really,
culture is, we do
yeah.
that. We influence.
And
We
we
influence.
starting to bring out what we did and what we invented, and so I believe a lot of our fashion trends and stuff will be coming out more and more as we go on. So I
Absolutely.
love that. Yeah.
So Mo, what
Hmm.
old school trend do you still love today?
But okay, so I actually know this one, but I did skip it. Um, I like pedal pushers. And like I love pedal pushers, pencil pants,
Mm-hmm.
pencil skirts. I like poodle skirts.
Poodle skirts are so cute.
Yeah, and if you wear them right, they are really really cute.
Absolutely.
And then this is so crazy because I hated them when I was younger, but I actually like the penny loafers that our parents used to put up, the black and white shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like those shoes, and I'm thinking about buying some. You
So
know
like
what shoes?
the Oxfords.
The Oxfords.
Yeah.
There you go. And I am for our graduations, I had the like newer versions of Oxfords, but I'm thinking about getting the shoes with the laces
Get
and put some
them
bells on
because
them.
that is actually a trend for 2026.
Yeah, I
It
think
is.
I'm gonna do that.
Loafers will always be a trend.
Yeah.
The Oxfords, you're gonna start really seeing people bring that back.
Yeah, and it just remind me of the poodle skirt. I don't know why, but yeah, I like different stuff. I think just stuff that you could pair together. But I do like the pedal pushers, the capris. Like I like those. I'm tall, and I feel like it just works with me. So yeah. Shay, I love this question. How did Sunday best evolved in everyday fashion?
So we touched on Sunday best in our first episode. So
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing to talk about it again because
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's just always going to be relevant.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about fashion through the decades.
Mm-hmm.
And Sunday best, it just really started out more than just dressing up for church. Now, when we think
Yeah.
about Sunday best, we think about church, but it was a form of respect, pride, and resistance in the Black community because, again, being oppressed. So,
Yeah.
our Sunday best is the way to show up and say, I have class. I'm wealthy in spirit, and my fashions is
Yeah.
everything. And that's where the Sunday best came from. It said, "You may not respect me out there, but I'll show up in excellence here." So it's really about how you
Mhm.
show up. And the idea evolved into every day it's worth showing up as your best self. So, Mo and I, we're going to challenge ourselves, dress up in our closets, but we're going to show up and continue to show up as our best selves. And I think that's something we
Yeah.
constantly do, no
Yeah.
matter how we're feeling. And that's another thing about Sunday's best is that a lot of times when you are dressed your best, you are not feeling your best,
Yeah. I agree.
And so
I
it's
agree.
a way to make you feel better. But a lot of
Mhm.
times, Sunday best, you was going through it.
Yeah. I
Um,
agree.
so it became more than a look; it's a mindset,
Mhm.
and you show up with pride no matter what.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I really do. Yeah. Sunday's best is a good one. I know my grandma was definitely that woman. Always dressed really, really nice. She wore gloves. She was big on gloves, so that's why I wore gloves on the episode. She was really, really big on gloves. But she just, she always used to tell me it gives extra to the look. And she used to love her purse. And she loved her purse. She threw under her underarm and just was going, just yeah. So she was a big one influence with fashion for me. And it was Saturday's best for me because I went to church on Saturday. But yeah, just seeing it's the same thing. It's the same thing as Sunday best. You putting it on.
Putting it on.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
This is a fun one. I cannot wait to hear Mo's answer. Which decade had the most confidence?
So I didn't look it up or anything. I chose.
Yes.
So this is my opinion. I felt like the 70s. I felt like 70s was very like free and like so this is what I looked up for it. And so there was a lot of different ones that I could have picked from. So I picked 70s. I know that it's probably a range, but the 70s to me is very powerful. Okay, so it says the diversity style. A lot of the styles was influenced by bohemian, hippie style, disco, glam, punk, and it's actually like some of my favorite styles. Diversity along individuals express their individually freely, leading to a strong sense of personal style. So that was the diversity culture movements. So a lot of the feminism, civil rights, and LGBTQ plus rights was going on at that time. So I thought that was powerful to me because I feel like when you have different people from different backgrounds coming forward with fashion, I feel like that's a lot of confidence because you're going through so much at that particular time and you're trying to fight for your rights and all that stuff. So I really felt like you got to have a lot of confidence to show up for yourself and be authentic.
Yes.
We use authentic a lot. So I wanted to really show off 70s religion and individuality, the punk movement, the late 70s channeled that mainstream fashion choices, forms, protests with bold colors, controversial styles, DIY. So we was talking about in another episode how 2026 will be like, and I was saying that like where the 70s, that's what they did. They made a lot of stuff and they put a lot of messages on coats and they did a lot of jean jackets with buttons and all that stuff. So, I mean, I don't know how confident you can be when you are making statements, fashion statements, political statements, disco culture. Disco culture is shiny and sexy and grunge a little bit. Like it's a little bit of everything, I feel, to me. And it says sequins, bold colors, form fitting, celebrate along people to feel confident and liberal on the dance floor. Love that. And it was just over the top, just like just straight elegance to me. I love the disco era. And then it's celebrity influence icons like Bowie. I already say Bowie. David Bowie, Cher, Diana Summers, Foxy Brown, Diana Ross, and Prince. I mean, what? Yeah. So, yeah.
70s definitely.
70s was, it was the one. It was it. And then this is my favorite, last but not least, sustainability and awareness. They were very big on the environment issues, growing awareness for the environment issues, focusing on sustainability, fashion choices such as vintage clothes and natural fabrics. That's why I picked the 70s because I didn't even have to look this up. I knew this information. It was 70s was a powerful movement. It was a powerful statement in fashion because it was so many different layers of it. And I will say, like, people making political statements and getting protesting for their rights, that alone is very powerful. And you being it individually, and I feel like that's the most confident you could be. Because when you yourself, you just show up as yourself and you're going to do what you want. So, yeah. So 70s it is. For me, is my,
I would agree with that. I mean, because you think about like with the '60s, at least in the beginning of the '60s, you're still dealing with that box. You're putting in of how you're supposed to look, how a wife is supposed to be, gender roles, and
Yeah.
the torch
Yes.
that, then that's when you start seeing, what they call the flower children come in the
Yeah.
60s, but that really goes into the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And so that 70 era really is
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm me. So I
Yeah,
agree
and
with
then
you.
on both sides too, like
Mhm.
different races and stuff, like black people with big old afros,
Right.
and it was so powerful because people were okay with being natural, like on in the black community, and then a lot of people was doing like different hairstyles and different things in their hair, beads and all types of. So it was so much going on, and it was so colorful, like just such a colorful moment, and I love it. That's why I brought up the 70s when I was talking about that in the episode, because I really feel like 2026 is gonna look like that. It's gonna be people really expressing themselves. So yeah. Okay, so Shay, how did hip hop in the 80s and 90s change fashion forever?
Ooh,
I
fashion
know.
forever. So hip hop in the fashion world, it it really made streetwear luxury and authenticity. I can't even say the word. It made it. I'm gonna just say it made it cool. Okay.
I'm telling you, you could get tongue tied on this
Authenticity.
camera.
There we go. Authenticity. Cool.
Look, we human, so hey.
Yes. And so, in the 80s, you had artists like Run DMC. They made sneakers, tracksuits, and gold chain symbols of success, not just style, but status. I have a whole little thing about Run DMC and Adidas, which is actually really pronounced Adidas.
Oh yeah, because I did see something.
And that's just, go look up the creator of Adidas, and you'll see why it's called Adidas and not Adidas. But it was also about ownership and representation, and so showing pride in where you came from, not hiding it. Dapper Dan, you like, really, when you talk about black fashion, Dapper Dan name is always gonna come up.
Yeah, it's always gonna
It's
come
always
up.
gonna come up. And he was remixing Gucci and Louis before luxury brands ever looked our way. He
was
revamping
revamping.
and black people, that's not a thing, right?
Yeah, he was
And
revamping.
he did that. Dapper Dan put that on the map for us. And then the 90s, it took it even further with the baggy jeans, Timberlands, jerseys, bold logos. So you got brands like FUBU, For Us By Us, Cross Colors, Karakani. They were literally brands that were built for us and by us. And then hip hop made fashion aspirational and accessible at the same time. You didn't need a runway; you just needed confidence, which is true. Like you said, the streets is a runway.
It is our runway.
It's our runway.
It is our runway, and we gonna think like that every day in 2026. I need to walk out here, and I am working it. So I'm just saying.
And it just pretty much changed the game forever, because it really was about not following trends. It was like saying we make the trend.
Yeah. So I agree.
Yeah. Next question to Mo. What's one piece from back then that still hits today?
In the 80s and 90s, right?
It could be 80s, 90s, whichever.
I would say, I'll go all the way back. I would say the zoo suits. I'm going to pick two. I'm going to pick zoo suits. And because I like that it was so much in the zoo suit that really influenced suits now. From the like how they like really took that and then did a lot of stuff with the 70s, like the big lapels and all that stuff. Like it made the suits today and gave it, because it was so much in it. Even now, like barrel pants, and we was talking about this a while ago, those came from them pants, like the oversized pants, MC Hammer. So it influenced so many different looks from that one suit, and I thought that was really cool. And then I would have to say Dapper Dan, and like what he did with like the logo stuff, and how he revamped and took these things apart and remade it, and it went into the rap industry, and they was going to him having them flip clothes and stuff, and I think that's awesome, because it's been happening, you know, and it just to say how cool like revamping is on my aspect of what I love to do, and how I started out. But yeah, I would say those two still hit. Dapper Dan still is hidden.
Yeah.
Okay, I would love to have a Dapper Dan piece. So
Man.
those two, I would say the zoo suits, because I feel like it brung so much into now and all over the decades. It just hit every decade. I feel like after that suit was created, something has something to do with a zoo suit, like with suits now, and even like I said, jeans, and then yeah. So I would say that those two, because they influence a lot. So
Speaking of having a Dapper Dan piece, how do you feel about his Gap collaboration? Like, I love his Gap collaboration. I got a hoodie from it, and it says instead of Gap, it
you
says
say Dap.
Yeah,
And you know Dap. I think I don't know who talked about this on here, but you know, we just had Veterans Day too. But the veterans or veterans, they are whoever was military, whatever. They came up with Dap, and yeah, so they made up the Dap to communicate with each other, all the black soldiers.
See?
Yeah, and it's more to it, but they dapped each other up, and that's where it come from. Yeah, it don't come from Dapper Dan, but the dap. That's what when he came out with that, it just reminded me of that because I had just read up on that black people created the dap in the military. And I thought that was awesome. I was like, that's really cool. That's how they communicate. Yeah. But I would say this, and this is off the record, like off what we talking about. Like one thing if you go back and you read history, and it's some stuff and then it's most of the stuff, black people stuck together. And I really enjoy like reading history stuff because we really tried to figure it out and we were so resilient with each other. And I thought that was so cool how they embraced each other with a dap. You know, I think that's super cool. You going through hard times, you trying to get through war, and you just go up. It's okay. And it says that dap and even a fist pump, you know, all that stuff, because that comes from, I feel like it comes from the dap. All those things let the person know without even speaking thank you or how you doing or whatever. Like you could talk through that, like a quick little without a hug, you know? So I just love stuff like that. But I think it's super cool that it's a lot of our history we stuck together and we figured out ways to communicate. So body, you know, touching someone it brings so much energy into them. So yeah, I just wanted to say that off the record. Why do people keep bringing old styles back instead of starting fresh?
Because fashion is nostalgic.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds you of culture, give you memories.
Mm-hmm.
And fashion really, honestly, at this point, it's not something that is really new. It's just evolved.
Yeah.
And so that's why people bring it back, because each piece, it was a statement in its era, and you want to always bring that back to kind of relive just a little bit of that moment, or would you hear your grandparents talk about, your aunts talk about, previous generations talk about, so you bring that back, and that's pretty much why. It's nostalgic, and fashion can be very timeless and is timeless.
Yeah. And why not have a lot of options? I'm just saying, why not have a lot of fashion options? Yeah. So that's just me.
And I mean, you go. It's hard to say like I'm gonna just start something so fresh from fashion, because you draw
so
from
much time. Yeah.
That's how. So yeah.
So much time has happened too.
Yes. Yeah,
you know. So I do agree.
So Mo, who had the best black flyness of all time?
I like this one. Okay. So to me, I'm going to pick Outkast. I love Outkast. And Rihanna. Yeah. I say Rihanna. And I will say I love Beyonce. Beyonce's up there for me too. But I'm going to say Rihanna wins only because over time, because I remember back in the day I had like a back and forth with somebody about Riri and Beyonce. And the only reason why, because Riri wasn't there yet. Riri has touched every side of fashion, and she also broke so many rules. and that's what fashion is about. I feel like Beyonce has said a lot of fads, like we were just saying, like stuff went out or whatever. It she started and kind of end with her. But I feel like with Rihanna, it's just timeless. Like stuff she wear, like I feel like you could wear it later, like years and years and years, and flip it and be so inspired by it. She just wore so much stuff. And I think she was very focused on that. And I think that's what set her career off. Like with fashion, she started. And I believe that a lot of people can do that when they start their careers. I've talked to a lot of my clients about that. Like you can literally set the tone with your fashion in your career. It doesn't have to be just music. You are being seen, you're being shot. Streets are your runway. You like how with Zendaya, how Law Roach was like, we're gonna go into parties and like I'm gonna dress you, and then we're gonna sneak in this party. Like literally, you can make a statement with pieces you wear, and I feel like she has fun and she's like herself and she's authentic. So I have to put Rihanna there, and then Outkast. What I love about Outkast didn't care. But they did creative things that you would never thought that things would go together. And it's just iconic. Like the stuff that I just think about all the stuff they have done. And I just be like, that's crazy. But I always liked it some way, somehow, or it grew on me. Mm-hmm. Even when Andre 3000 just said, no, he was like, one of my friends didn't like Aya. They didn't like it. But it wasn't for him, first off. But he was saying, when he said that, I thought that was so interesting because that song, I liked it instantly, but it was a song that I knew grew on a lot of people because shake it, shake it, shake it like a water.
That song. Anytime it come on, she is.
He literally made something. Whatever he was thinking, he made straight art. Because that shaking like a Polaroid picture was like, it will always stick in your head. Like, so it was a really good video. Like I like the video and everything, but he had the hair, straight 70s with the big head being like Outkast was awesome. And, Andre 3000, like him going into his career and seeing him, just grow. And yeah, I would say Outkast off even from like over time, like them wearing streetwear and you could see them in all that streetwear, and then they just start being eclectic and just they went in like with they fat. I just really feel like they also needed. I need y'all to quote me on this. Why did I not have fashion icon? They should have been had it. Outkast should have been had that award. They should. So I'm just saying, but. Those are my two.
Maybe we speaking it into existence.
Yeah. And then we're going to replay this when I get it.
Exactly. Touching a little bit back on something you said about Beyonce, because those who know me, I am a Beehive member.
She is.
However, I always feel like I'm one of those beehives that I will tell the truth, and I don't think that everything Beyonce does is right. Mm-hmm. And it's not a right or wrong thing, but I agree that I always said, when it comes to Beyonce artistry, I will argue down her vocals, her talent. Fashion, I don't say Beyonce's a fashion icon to me. Mm-hmm. I think, she understands fashion. She has her moments.
She definitely had moments.
But
that's why I
would
said
say that there's a lot of people that I would be like, no, fashion icon.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that. And I know some Beehive members going to be like, you're not perfect. Yes, I am. I'm telling the truth.
Yeah.
Now, we don't argue about her vocals, but we can argue about the fashion.
We in fashion. Yeah. She has moments, and that's why I say a lot of things she done, it was fabs. Like, but Rihanna, she steps out of that, and I got to tell my old self that I was wrong. But I think also too, when that argument or that back and forth was going on, the disagreement debate was an argument was happening. Beyonce was in that forefront of doing things, and because she was setting trends. Absolutely. But Rihanna haven't arrived just yet. I think it was right when Umbrella. She wasn't there. Now I can honestly say she's a fashion icon. She has done so much stuff. And I really believe who's behind her is Zendaya. I really think Zendaya, because Zendaya has done so much stuff that's iconic. Like if you see anything with fashion forecast, anything, you gonna see Zendaya every now and then. That's how with Rihanna. You're always gonna see Rihanna on a fashion forecast. They have made the streets their runway. Wherever they went, they have made it their runway, and that's what it's about. You want people to talk about your fashion. That's how you know you're going into fashion icon. So that's just me. But Outcast definitely need to get they flowers because they are awesome. And I was like, dang, I used to love Outcast when they was getting a rock and roll award not too long ago. But I was like, yeah, they fashion is off the charts. So I would say Outcast. Yeah. Okay. So, Shay, which decade do you think most influenced how we dress today?
The 90s.
Yeah.
The 2000s. I mean, but again, that's the trend now, anyways, and we're gonna see we start shifting from that in 2026. But the 90s and the 2000s is really the era that is influencing today with the baggy clothes and the tomboy look, and so it's all about just being authentic, and then the attitude. And so Gen Z and even Gen Alpha, which is crazy, are discovering TLC, Destiny's Child, for real, which I'm excited for, because I mean my kids was gonna know about that regardless, so the 90s and early 2000s.
I agree.
Yes. I mean, these episodes, they just always bring me so much joy, and I feel like we always have so much to cover and still only just scratch the surface.
Yeah.
But Mo, what you gonna do? You gotta close this out. So, the last question is, how would you mix vintage with something modern?
Okay, so I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of a couple of things. Vintage is my thing. I love vintage, but these are the things that I go. So I go for statement pieces when I go vintage shopping. So I'm gonna do it that way because I think that's gonna be an interesting way also to give you ideas. And I think this is the best way to pair with modern. So go for amazing jackets. Jackets are coats. So go for something that's different, like a French jacket or an amazing leather jacket, I feel like you can find good bombers there. So I think those are good things to pair with something modern, like a good pair of jeans that is in style right now. So do something like that. You could also go for jeans that's modern now. So they are usually, when you go to a thrift store, they are shopping or buying the more modern pair of jeans as now, but they're vintage. So the cut is different, better quality. You know what I'm saying? So I would say go for the jeans that's in season now, but it is vintage, So then these are the add-ons. I say they're add-ons. Glasses, vintage glasses, your bags, your shoes, your what else would be scarves? Scarves gonna be a big one in 2026, and then have like everything modern do a vintage scarf. Your brooches, you know what I'm saying? Those are things that you could find. A lot of people find Chanel and Louis Vuitton and all these what's it, Saint Laurent, right?
Yeah, Saint Laurent.
Laurent. They go and find these type of brooches and add that to your modern look. So, you go look for things that are unique and things that you want to go to thrift stores to find uniqueness. That's what you go thrift shopping for. And when I was younger, that's what I wanted to. I didn't want to be like nobody else, and that's why I also revamped my clothes. So you can have a whole modern outfit and throw on a vintage scarf. Put a hat on top of your scarf. You could do a nice vintage long jacket. Everything under is modern. So you can mix and match and really have fun with thrift and modern clothes. So that was mine, and I wanted to give y'all a couple. I didn't want to just do one.
Yes.
So, but yeah, mix and match. Vintage and modern. That's the way to go in 2026. So, just saying.
We love that.
Okay, we're going to close it out. Yeah. I'm so sad. I love these episodes.
I know.
I'm going to miss you guys, So, every decade we have its drip. Every decade has its drip. Shay, what else?
But the black print, that's been timeless.
I agree. So we need you guys to subscribe. What else we need them to do?
You already know. Hit that like button, share, and comment. We want to hear from you. What do you want to hear from us? Like, what do you want us to talk about? We really take the time to think about these topics, but we want to hear from our community. What do you want to know fits and what do you want to know the facts about? Because we're going to always bring it to you.
So please comment. Please let us know what you thinking, what you want to see more of. Do you want to see us outside of the studio? What y'all want? Let us know so we can start putting it into our plans and make y'all happy. More happy. It's 2026. We in a new year, so we trying to do something. We trying to shake it up.
New season.
Yes.
What else?
Okay. So thank you guys.
Until next time.
Let me see you later.